stories. Actually, they have, I feel like a lot of his stories have been made into like movies, TV shows, kind of more than you would even really think, because a lot of them have different names in their original book or short story. This one, though, is Minority Report, which the same name as the Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report. Anyway, let's just get into it. The first thought that Anderton had when he saw the young man was, "I'm getting bald and fat and old." But he didn't say it aloud. Instead, he pushed back his chair, got to his feet, and came resolutely around the side of his desk, his right hand rigidly extended. Smiling with forced amiability, he shook hands with the young man. "Whitwer?" he asked, managing to make his query sound gracious. "That's right," the man said, "but the name's Ed to you, of course. That is, if you share my dislike for needless formality." The look on his blonde, overly confident face showed that he considered the matter settled. It would be Ed and John. Everything would be agreeably cooperative right from the start. "Did you have much trouble finding the building?" Anderton asked guardedly, ignoring the too friendly overture. Good God, he had to hold on to something. Fear touched him and he began to sweat. Whitwer was moving around the office as if he already owned it, as if he were measuring it for size. Couldn't he wait a couple days, a decent interval? "No trouble," Whitwer answered blithely, his hands in his pockets. Eagerly, he examined the voluminous files that lined the walls. "I'm not coming into your agency blind, you understand. I have a few ideas of my own about the way pre-crime is run." Shakily, Anderton lit his pipe. "How is it run? I should like to know." "Not badly," Whitwer said. "In fact, quite well." Anderton regarded him steadily. "Is that your private opinion, or is it just cant?" Whitwer met his gaze guilelessly, private and public. "The Senate's pleased with your work. In fact, they're enthusiastic," he added, "as enthusiastic as very old men can be." Anderton winced, but outwardly he remained impassive. It cost him an effort, though. He wondered what Whitwer really thought, what was actually going on in that close-cropped skull. The young man's eyes were blue, bright, and disturbingly clever. Whitwer was nobody's fool, and obviously he had a great deal of ambition. "As I understand it," Anderton said cautiously, "you're going to be my assistant until I retire." "That's my understanding, too," the other replied, without an instant's hesitation. "Which may be this year, or next year, or 10 years from now." The pipe in Anderton's hand trembled. "I'm under no compulsion to retire. I founded pre-crime, and I can stay on here as long as I want. It's purely my decision." Whitwer nodded, his expression still guileless. "Of course." With an effort, Anderton cooled down a trifle. "I merely wanted to get things straight." "From the start," Whitwer agreed. "You're the boss. What you say goes." With every evidence of sincerity, he asked, "Would you care to show me the organization? I'd like to familiarize myself with the general routine as soon as possible." As they walked along the busy, yellow-lit tiers of offices, Anderton said, "You're acquainted with the theory of pre-crime, of course. I presume we can take that for granted." "I have the information publicly available," Whitwer replied. "With the aid of your precog mutants, you've boldly and successfully abolished the post-crime punitive system of jails and fines. As we all realize, punishment was never much of a deterrent, and could scarcely have afforded comfort to a victim already dead." They had come to the descent lift. As it carried them swiftly downward, Anderton said, "You've probably grasped the basic legalistic drawback to pre-crime methodology. We're taking our society, we have no major crimes, Anderton went on. But we do have a detention camp full of would-be criminals. Doors opened and closed, and they were in the analytical wing. Ahead of them rose impressive banks of equipment, the data receptors, and the computing mechanisms that studied and restructured the incoming material. And beyond the machinery sat the three precogs, almost lost to view in the maze of wiring. There they are, Anderton said dryly. What do you think of them? In the gloomy half-darkness, the three idiots sat babbling. Every incoherent utterance, every random syllable was analyzed, compared, reassembled in the form of visual symbols, transcribed on conventional punch cards, and ejected into various coded slots. All day long, the idiots babbled, imprisoned in their special high-backed chairs, held in one rigid position by metal bands and bundles of wiring clamps. Their physical needs were taken care of automatically. They had no spiritual needs. Vegetable-like, they muttered and dozed and existed. Their minds were dull, confused, lost in shadows. But not the shadows of today. The three gibbering, fumbling creatures, with their enlarged heads and wasted bodies, were contemplating the future. The analytical machinery was recording prophecies, and as the three precog idiots talked, the machinery carefully listened. For the first time, Whitwer's face lost its breezy confidence. A sick, dismayed expression crept into his eyes, a mixture of shame and moral shock. It's not pleasant, he murmured. I didn't realize they were so... He groped in his mind for the right word, gesticulating. So... deformed. Deformed and retarded, Anderton instantly agreed. Especially the girl there. Donna is 45 years old, but she looks about 10. The talent absorbs everything. The ESP lobe shrivels the balance of the frontal area. But what do we care? We get their prophecies. They pass on what we need. They don't understand any of it, but we do. Subdued, Whitwer crossed the room to the machinery. From a slot, he collected a stack of cards. Are these names that have come up? He asked. Obviously. Frowning, Anderton took the stack from him. I haven't had a chance to examine them, he explained, impatiently concealing his annoyance. Fascinated, Whitwer watched the machinery pop a fresh card into a now empty slot. It was followed by a second and a third. From the whirring discs came one card after another. The precogs must see quite far into the future, Whitwer exclaimed. They see a quite limited span, Anderton informed him. 1 week or 2 ahead at the very most. Much of their data is worthless to us, simply not relevant to our line. We pass it on to the appropriate agencies, and they in turn trade data with us. Every important bureau has its cellar of treasured monkeys. Monkeys, Whitwer stared at him uneasily. Oh, yes, I understand. See no evil, speak no evil, etc. Very amusing. Very apt. Automatically, Anderton collected the fresh cards which had been turned up by the spinning machinery. Some of these names will be totally discarded, and most of the remainder record petty crimes, thefts, incoming tax evasions, assault, extortion. As I'm sure you know, pre-crime has cut down felonies by 99.8%. We seldom get actual murder or treason. After all, the culprit knows we'll confine him in the detention camp a week before he gets a chance to commit the crime. When was the last time an actual murder was committed? Whitwer asked. 5 years ago, Anderton said, pride in his voice. How did it happen? The criminal escaped our teams. We had his name. In fact, we had all the details of the crime, including the victim's name. We knew the exact moment, the location of the planned act of violence, but in spite of us, he was able to carry it out. Anderton shrugged. After all, we can't get all of them. He rifled the cards, but we do get most. 1 murder in 5 years. Whitworth's confidence was returning. Quite an impressive record, something to be proud of. Quietly, Anderton said, I am proud. 30 years ago I worked out theory, back in the day when the self-seekers were thinking in terms of quick raids on the stock market. I saw something legitimate ahead, something of tremendous social value. He tossed the packet of cards to Wally Page, his subordinate in charge of the monkey block. See which ones we want, he told him. Use your own judgment. As Page disappeared with the cards, Whitworth said thoughtfully, It's a big responsibility. Yes, it is, agreed Anderton. If we let one criminal escape, as we did 5 years ago, we've got a human life on our conscience. We're solely responsible. If we slip up, somebody dies. Bitterly, he jerked 3 new cards from the slot. It's a public trust. Are you ever tempted to? Whitworth hesitated. I mean, some of the men you pick up must offer you plenty. It wouldn't do any good. A duplicate file of cards pop out in an Army GHQ. It's checks and balance. They can keep their eye on us continuously as they wish. Anderton glanced briefly at the top card. So even if we want to accept a... He broke off, his lips tightening. What's the matter? Whitworth asked curiously. Carefully, Anderton folded up the top card and put it away in his pocket. Nothing, he muttered. Nothing at all. The harshness in his voice brought a flush to Whitworth's face. You really don't like me, he observed. True, Anderton admitted. I don't. But he couldn't believe he disliked the young man that much. It didn't seem possible. It wasn't possible. Something was wrong. Dazed, he tried to steady his tumbling mind. On the card was his name, line 1, an already accused future murderer. According to the coded punches, pre-crime commissioner